What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 79, and we start today's episode off with sorry, it's just every single fucking time starting today's episode off with some player training. And as you can see, for the first time in what seems like the season, we changed some of the drills up. We took out 2 or 3 of Fagan drills and gave them to Marco Romano, an Italian left midfielder around our academy right now, as he's under the overall of 60. And of course, a player needs to be 60 for you to check their potential. And I will be honest, obviously last season, as you'll see our academy in just a moment's time here, after a draw against Portugal and a win against Northern Ireland, means now with just 2 games to go in the Euro qualifiers, we just need 1 more point to qualify for Euro 2024. Obviously last season, I made a point of putting more effort into the player training and changing the drills up every single month and having 3 different players each month. But to be honest, guys, I just haven't been bothered this season, because the fact of the matter is player training in career mode is just so repetitive and so boring. It's not been touched once since the feature came into the game back in FIFA 16, and it's just so frustrating how arbitrary it is as well. You see 8 games to go in the Premier League here after our 4-0 victory against Aston Villa, with 12 points off Chelsea in 4th place, now 14 points off Spurs, not going to catch Mourinho's men in our hunt for Champions League football next season. But the training is just so trivial. It's like every single time you do the drills, there's no justification, there's no logic to what makes a player get an A and what makes a player get an F. Excuse me. And it's just really, really silly how it's never once been properly worked on. Like, I've already got 2 little basic ideas how they can make training more interesting. Like, if a player's not getting first team opportunities, maybe they've got a higher chance of getting an A or a B in training because they want to work harder in training to impress the manager, improve their attributes, and get more game time. Maybe if a player is coming off a serious injury and they're just back in training, they're not going to train as well, and therefore they're more likely to get Fs and Es as they're taking it a bit lighter, as they don't want to strain themselves too much. Little things like that to make training a little bit more logical, as opposed to right now throwing 5 players in and it could be an A, it could be an F, it could be a C. There's no logic to what they're going to get. It's nothing more than just a gamble and a roll of the dice. And if you quit career mode on the day and you go back into it and you do the training again and again and again, you'll get 5 different results each time, and it's just really stupid. There's nothing to it other than just set the drills up, press simulate, and it's done. I wish EA would just give a little bit more effort into these sort of things. We've had this since FIFA 16, and it's been the same thing time after time after time again. It's just so bloody boring. Anyway, on the back of that mini rant, which I've barely ever done in this series, first game of this episode is against Chelsea, as we will take on Frank Lampard's Blues, our rivals in this series, really. They're heading into the game, as we know, 11 points behind Lampard's side, 8 games to go. If we're going to make the Champions League places, I've said it before and I'll say it again, we've got to win every single one of our remaining fixtures. Oh, Dean Henderson, I have to admit it, he's had some gaffes this season, and there's another one added to the collection. It was an awkward moment for our number 1, but obviously I used to play in goal when I was younger. You're taught this at a very early age. It's a fundamental of being a goalkeeper. If you come for a cross or you come for an aerial duel, you've got to get there. You've got to meet it. The last thing you can do is get caught in no man's land. Dean did just that, hesitated, didn't get there on time, and Lautaro Martinez heads it into the open goal and makes it 1-0. And it could have been 2-0 just for the break, and it should have been as well. Dean, to be fair, did redeem himself with a superb save, and then Christian Pulisic at the back stick somehow missed a target of an open goal and headed the ball wide. So Chelsea should have been 2 or 3 goals up at this point. They were looking a far better side. We were totally out of it, and this was such a big game for us. We couldn't afford to drop points. We'd barely got going, but just before half time we had a chance and we would take it as well. Chelsea let us off the hook time after time after time again, and you can't do that against these Blades with Alfredo Morelos in the starting 11. Barry Walsh hobbing a little bit, rolls it through to the Colombian, drills it in, and the Blades have got their equaliser courtesy of the former Porto and Rangers man. Sheffield United 1, Chelsea 1, back on level terms, and 10 minutes after the restart, We turn the game on its head and get in front. Chelsea trying to play out from the back, masters of their own downfall, surrender possession. Ollie Shaw wins it back, rolls it through to his bro, and Ivan Toney bends it into the top corner, out of the reach of Willy Caballero, still playing at what seems like 60 years old. He can't get to it, into the top corner. Toney with the finish, and you see the celebrations. We couldn't afford to drop points in this game, lose it, and there'd be no chance of us making the top 4. But courtesy of Morelos and now Toney's 21st goal this season, we're in front for the first time in the match, and with 10 minutes to go, a chance to get ourselves 2 goals up. Toney on the turn, beats his man, lovely bit of dribbling, shot well saved by Caballero, comes straight back to him, and Toney bags his brace and ensures the 3 points will stay in Yorkshire. Such a better second half from Sheffield United. In the first half, we were all over the place. We should have been 3 goals down at half time. Instead, we were level, and in the second half, we punished the Blues for not putting the game to bed. Final score, Sheffield United 3, Chelsea 1, as we cut the gap for the first time in what seems like half the season to single digits. The deficit is now 9 points. I said pre-game that the point gap was 11. It's actually 12. But the point gap now is 9 after that big win there. And what a swing it could have been had Frank Lampard's side put the game to bed before half-time, which really, with the chances they had, they should have done so. They would have extended the gap to 15 points with 7 matches remaining. Look, there's no way we would make that up. And that would have been Chelsea's top 4 place. Not cemented, because Everton right now are only a few points behind the Blues. But we'd have no chance catching them. That'll be us out. There'd be no chance of making the Champions League, but instead, a huge swing. It could have been 15, instead it's 9. There is still a long road to go before we do take them out and get into the top 4 and make up that point deficit, but at least we've got a chance. We would have had no chance how we lost that game. I would have said, really, we'd have had no chance how we drawn the game. Instead, the point deficit now into single digits for the first time in the calendar year. 9 points, that's the gap, 7 games to go. We're not giving up just yet. Anyway, second game of today's episode after scouting update there, as none of the players there made it into our academy, will be the first leg of our Europa League quarter-final tie away in Italy, as we would take on Fiorentina, as we are only one of 2 English sides remaining in the competition, as Manchester United face Sevilla in one of their other quarter-final ties. But we've got Fiorentina, and of course, after beating Schalke very convincingly over 2 legs, after beating Rapid Vienna very convincingly over 2 legs, heading away from home to Fiorentina for the first leg of this game, the mentality heading to this tie was going to be the same as the previous 2 ties. We're away from home in the first game, let's get some goals. And that's exactly what we will do 3 minutes in. What's his name? Calvert-Lewin. How do we say it? DCL. Back at it once again. How good has Calvert-Lewin been this season, man? He has been superb. He, Morelos and Toney have been being rotated all throughout the course of the season, but whenever Calvert-Lewin's on the pitch, you expect him to get a goal. One of our top scorers in the league. He's only got a couple of goals in Europe now, but still a reliable goal scorer when we need him to be one. Fiorentina 0, Sheffield United 1, and that became 2 just past the half-an-hour mark. Lovely piece of dribbling by Eze, rolls it through to Wilfred Ndidi, and as our number 25 does his best Anthony Joshua impression, the Blades have come to Tuscany and lead by 2 at half-time. Away at the Veltins Arena, we'd scored 5 in the first half. Against Rapid Vienna, we'd scored 5 in the game. In this game, 2 goals up at half-time, and the mentality in the second half was keep on going, keep on scoring, and we would. DCL, 21 minutes after the restart. Take a bow, young man. Fiorentina 0, Sheffield United 3. Job done. Good night. Get on that plane. We're back to Bramwell Lane with a 3-0 aggregate scoreline in the first leg. What a performance in Tuscany. And against Schalke at the Veltins, scoring 5 in the first half and win that game 5-2. beating Rapid Vienna by 5-0 in the first leg as well. You know, in this game, the mentality was the same. We didn't go away from home playing defensive, playing conservative, looking to conserve energy and not get too many attacks on board, just try and get a clean sheet, protect it, and head back to Bramall Lane with no goals conceded. No, we were all about the offense in that game, because that's what we've been all throughout the course of the Europa League. It's not been about our defense, it's been about our attack. We're not going to change and break away from that philosophy. When we play a European game, we look to score as many goals as possible. No difference there. 3-0 the final score, and heading into that second leg, we know now that Fiorentina will need to score 3 goals at Bramall Lane, otherwise we are in to the Europa League semi-finals, where the board have asked us to reach this season. I was targeting the semis, and we're 90 minutes away from getting there too. But heading back home to England for the third of 4 games today, we would return to Premier League duties here to take on Burnley, Sean Dyche's side away at Turf Moor, back in the Premier League. Both teams right now have an outside shot at European football, us for Champions League, Burnley for Europa League. And in this game, I've got to be honest here, Sean Dyche's side were defending like giants. We could not break them down whatsoever. Our best chances were coming from crosses from set pieces and from shots outside the area. We couldn't get inside, and in stoppage time, the man that made the vital tackle here on Wilfred Ndidi to ensure the game would finish as a goalless draw, well, I've sung his praises so many times. I'm such a big fan of the guy. Ben Mee, this guy really is such a solid player, and that's who the fans are applauding come the final whistle. Full time at Turf Moor away in Burnley, and it's 0-0, a goalless draw away at Turf Moor. And you know, it's a point. It means the unbeaten streak stretching back to that 5-1 defeat against City gets extended, but it's not good enough, man. We needed to win that game, but in this game, Ben Mee had turned into Thanos. I mean, we just couldn't beat him. It was unbelievable. Literally heading away every single cross, making every single tackle, every crucial interception. It's a slip-up, no other way of putting it. It's a clean sheet, it's a point, but it's not enough. The gap now is 10 points. It's back to double digits. Everton have now overtaken Chelsea and gone into 4th place by 2 points ahead of Frank Lampard's side. But 10 points now the gap. We've got a worse goal difference record than all 3 of the teams above us right now. It's over. I mean, I don't want to say it. I was going to say, it's a Rebecca Barney. It's over. It's all over, man. We're not going to make the top 4 now. It's like we had too many slip-ups this season, man. Far too many slip-ups there. You know, Burnley have been in good form this season, don't get me wrong. It's a clean sheet, it's a point, but it's not enough. We've had too many slip-ups this season. You think about the losses we've had this year. 3-0 against Bournemouth, losing to West Ham and Crystal Palace back-to-back, a defeat against Leicester away at King Power Stadium. You know, we've not just lost against the big teams this season, we've lost against some of the teams in mid-table and in the bottom half of the table as well. We've dropped points against sides that we should be beating, and that's the reason why. I mean, I'll say it now, there's 6 games to go. It's not going to happen. You know, that big win against Chelsea, I was so pumped after that victory, but then 0-0 away at Burnley, it's not going to happen now, man. We've slipped up far too many times, and we've only got ourselves to blame for not making the Champions League. And with 6, this is the worst part about it all. With 6 games to go, we already know it's over. We're not going to make a deficit up, but we'll continue to fight, we'll continue to push, but we know it's all over. And that means, as we head into the 4th and final game of today's episode, the second leg of our Europa League quarter-final tie against the Italians Fiorentina here back at Bramall Lane, if we are to play Champions League football next season, we're going to have to win this. And I haven't really talked about it throughout the course of the season so far, but we are going to have to win this competition if we're to play Champions League football next year at Bramall Lane. Otherwise, it's another season of Europa League football, or no European football whatsoever. So heading into this game, leading by 3, McBurney made it 1-0 on the night and 4-0 over 2 legs. We did feel a lot of changes this game, feeling very confident after our comprehensive first leg victory. We were leading by a 0-0, and I have to say, Alfredo Morelos, poor Alfredo Morelos, going for that golden boot, just couldn't score until early on in the second half, where finally at the 4th time of asking, he did get that goal to get in front. Puts his fingers in his ears, says, I can't hear the criticism from the Fiorentina fans on the way end. I'm still the top scorer. Yes, it took me quite a while to get this goal, but 14 goals in the Europa League for Alfredo Morelos. Finally beats Lafont, who was in superb form, and that would settle the score, settle the game, and settle the tie. Final score, Sheffield United 2, Fiorentina 0. 5-0 over 2 legs. And when you think about our Europa League ties, man, Rapid Vienna, Schalke, Fiorentina, not exactly easy ties to face, but we have scored 5+ goals in all 3 of those ties. To think this is our lowest scoring tie, 5 5 goals, that's our lowest scoring tie. That just shows you how good we've been in Europe this season. And as we head into the semi-finals, as you'll see after my post-match interview, we'll find out together to end today's episode off. Monaco thrashed Bologna 6-1 in their tie. Milan brushed aside Lyon in their tie to make the semis. And Manchester United were knocked out by the Spanish side Sevilla to make us the only remaining English side in the Europa League. And we'll be taking on in the semi-finals Monaco, away in the south of France, as Milan will face Sevilla in the other tie. And now the pressure is on. We know we're not going to make the top 4. We've reached the semi-finals. That's what the board wanted. But they also want Champions League football as well. Well, now there's only way we can give it to them next season, and that's by winning this trophy. Next episode, FA Cup semi-final, first leg against Monaco in the Europa League semi as well. It's a series-defining episode tomorrow. Get knocked out by Nottingham Forest, the championship side at Wembley in the semi-final. That'll be humiliating. Lose the first leg badly to Monaco, and there may be no Champions League football next season as well. It's a massive episode next, and I can't wait to show it to you guys. Thanks for watching today's episode of Career Mode, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy today's episode, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of Career Mode. Do not miss it. It's a series-defining episode very soon.